The Denver Nuggets entering the postseason Saturday, hoping their second straight Northwest Division title wouldn't be their last title this year as they met up with division foe Utah, all set to steal Game 1 at the Pepsi Center. CJ Miles hot out of the gates, 13 points in the first quarter, 17 on the night. Carmelo Anthony, he was a beast on Saturday as well. Got a feeling you'll see him more in the highlight. You won't see Mehmet Okur anymore in this highlight. After this play, Okur injures his left Achilles tendon on this play. He will leave the game and not return. Bad news for a Jazz team already banged up without Andre Karolinko. Boozer stepping up, knocks down the jumper. 19 points for him, still recovering from an oblique injury. Meanwhile, J.R. Smith throwing it down. Close game heading into the second half. Third quarter, the Nuggets starting to pick it up. It's Kenyon Martin with the jam. Also had 12 rebounds in 34 minutes of play, the most he's played since missing 18 games because of that knee injury. Kyle Korver stroking the three, then it's Darren Williams knocking down the triple, ties the game at 66 all. 1-point ball game now. Chauncey Billups getting fancy with the basketball. It's stolen. Jazz on the run. Wes Matthews is going to throw it down. Then it's Carmelo Anthony. Off the baseball pass from the Birdman. Anthony for the Nuggets take a 2-point lead. The momentum shifting in this one. Darren Williams trying to get it back. He goes baseline, lays it in. 26 points, 11 assists. Tied at 90 a few plays later, and JR would start cooking like my grandma. Bucket after bucket after bucket. He shoots that one from the NBA logo, misses it, but makes his way to the cup. Scored 11 straight at this point, finished with 20 in the game. Then, of course, there's that guy. Yeah, Carmelo Anthony. Drive and the score. Denver out by 10. It's a 14-point game now. More Melo. You'll take it, and you'll like it. Career playoff high, 42 points on 18 of 25 shooting. He had 12 in the fourth as the Nuggets take it. 126-113. Game 2 back in Denver Monday.
Our post-game coverage of Game 2 in Denver continues. Carmelo Anthony and the Nuggets going for a 2-0 lead against a Jazz team, missing yet another player. Mehmet Okur out, Kirlo Pasinko in, and Melo going to work early on.
Beautiful spin by Carmelo.
Darren Williams was spectacular in this game. Steal there, gets a flagrant foul from Carmelo Anthony.
You shot 18 free throws, Matt, and you probably hit the floor about 25 times tonight.
Williams was okay. In fact, he was better than okay.
What can you do when a guy can shoot off the dribble, stand still with a guy in his face, and knock down that three?
The Fez.
The Fez. Williams trying to make Pasinko feel comfortable there. He get him the dunk.
He's in the highlight.
Williams with a fadeaway there. He hit 7 of his 14 shots. Did a lot of his damage from the free throw line. Jerry Sloan fired up after a Paul Millsap foul. Gets himself a technical. Ty Lawson to Chauncey Billups, and he'll knock down the three-pointer.
We're showing highlights, but you see how many bodies are all over the deck. I mean,
everywhere.
This was a Utah Jazz basketball game.
Bodies strewn all over the floor at the Pepsi Center. Boozer with a layup and then a jump shot. Utah up by 10. Fourth quarter, Denver on the run. Billups, that pull-up three.
That's his signature move, the walk-up three.
He had 17. Williams to Millsap for the dunk. Utah back on top by 3.
You know, the Utah team, they have great hands. They catch all passes and they finish.
Look at the strength by Anthony. Finishes and one. He finished with 32 on the night.
His first step is just remarkable. For his size and strength to get to the basket and have an angle, and he makes sure he creates contact whether you're going to foul him or he's going to score.
One of those cuts that Brent was talking about on the baseline for C.J. Miles. He finishes there. Kyle Korver to Darren Williams, a little reversal of roles. And it's 106-105, Denver on top. Williams to Korver. He knocks down his only 3 of the game. Utah led by 2. All right, watch Melo.
He's got 5 fouls.
got 5 fouls, and he's all over C.J. Miles, and he's done. Fouls out of the game. Miles stepped up and knocked down both free throws to give Utah a 3-point lead. Phillips tried to get a quick three, missed it. Martin gets the putback 2. It's still a 1-point game. Korver hit a couple of free throws, so desperation time. It's Phillips.
No Melo on the court at the end of the game. You know, it really limits the options for Adrian Dantley to try to get the ball into the best scorer's hands, and Chauncey Billups forced to take a tough three.
So the Jazz, without Okor, without Karolinko, have tied up this series, and they did it on Chauncey Billups' home court.
You just knew it'd be a good series between the 4 and 5 seeds out west, and it sure has been, as the Jazz and Nuggets have split the first 2 of their series. Friday night, they laced them up in Utah. Darren Williams looking to build on his 33-point, 14-assist outburst in Game 2. Melo just trying to stay on the floor in this one after fouling out his last time out. Melo finding his stroke early on. He had 14 points in the opening 24 minutes. But the story, especially in the first half, was Paul Millsap. He throws it down. Much more from him in this game. Chauncey Billups seeing the three. He's going to knock that down. 15 in the first half, finished with 25 for the game. Jazz out by 2, and it's more Millsap. It almost seemed like he just didn't miss in the first half. Well, he actually didn't. 9 of 9 in the opening half, 18 points, finished with a career playoff high, 22 points, and 19 rebounds. Darren Williams picking up where he left off in the first half. He gets the hoop and the harm, and then he gets the easy steal there. That's a gimme. Moving the ball well are the Jazz, and Carlos Boozer is going to put it up and in. He had 18 on the night. Utah out by 10. It's a 70-60 game. Pedal is still to the metal. Wes Matthews for the tray. Melo trying to respond on the other end, and he was frustrated all night long. Picks up his 5th foul. Call for the offensive here. He left with 25 points. He can't stay out of foul trouble in this series so far. Off the turnover, Williams laying it in. 24 points, 10 assists for him. Jazz with a commanding win on Friday night. They assume a 2-1 series lead headed into Game 4 in Salt Lake on Sunday.
Carmelo Anthony had a big finish. What about this start? In the first, called for a charge. He's not buying. Denver has a 3-point lead. Now Melo being cautious on defense, guarding Wes Matthews, who drives and hits that layup. Utah with a 5-point lead. Second quarter. Anthony, the J, 44-38. Utah still with that lead. Second quarter, Darren Williams, watch him go to work.
Well, you love the fact that he recognized that mismatch, Vince, and just stepped back and got that three. But Nene nowhere in the picture there.
No, 24 points on the night for Williams. 54-31 Utah out in front. Now, Carmelo Anthony elbowing Darren Williams, picks up his 3rd foul. More frustration setting in. Second half now, Williams. Spin move, and C.J. Miles for the 3-pointer. 13 assists for Williams in the game. Utah with a big advantage. Matthews now causes a turnover that, how do you miss a wide open dunk like that?
Well, that's probably the only bad play he had all night. He played great tonight.
And made the highlights. Now Carlos Boozer.
For all the wrong reasons, for sure. That's just sad.
There would be no miss here.
We're sorry, Wesley.
Huge slam. Well, here's Carmelo Anthony trying to rally his team, driving hard for the layup and one, and then Melo, the 3-pointer, 90-79 Utah with the lead. But Darren Williams, Wes Matthews, now there we go. See?
Good.
Redemption at the end of the highlights. And even better than that, a victory, 117-106. So the third straight win for the Jazz in the series. Boozer was huge, 31 and 13 rebounds. Williams, 24 and 13 assists. Carmelo Anthony, 39 points. He had a dozen in the fourth quarter, but not enough to bring his team back.
Carmelo Anthony, got into it with Chris Anderson a little bit in Game 4 and had some comments after the game that were somewhat controversial, but he said everything is cool with me and my teammates heading into Game 5. He sinks the jumper right there. That was the 8th lead change of the first quarter. Denver led by 1. D. Will sinks the 3. Utah by 3. Denver responds. It's J.R. Smith to Kenyon Martin.
These two guys right here need to be aggressive. You see J.R. attacking the basket, making 4 guys play him. You know you're making your teammates better.
Aaron Aflalo.
I said the money ball. He's 5 for 5 for the night, folks.
He was 2 of 2 from deep, 5 of 5 from the floor, 12 points. D, I love it when you're on the stats like that. Carlos Boozer and 1. He would miss the free throw. Denver by 4. Now, bad news for the Nuggets. Nene, watch his knee. It was planting and it got kicked at the same time. That is wrong place, wrong time. And Nene did not return to the basketball game, and he was such a warrior all year for Denver. We can just cross our fingers and hope this is not a long-term injury. Boozer hits the fadeaway. Denver still led by 1, and then D. Will doing his thing.
Let's say D. Will got busy tonight, folks.
34 and 10, and some major history that we'll tell you about in a moment. Chauncey picks up the loose ball, walks into that 3. That's vintage Chauncey.
Yes, he'll take that shot all day. You say, what, layup? Oh, this is a layup.
Chauncey to the Mellow Man. I heard a tweet. Get him to the line.
Give me the ball. It's time for Bully Man to take over. Hey, get my shorts back. Get my shorts back.
Oh.
CJ, come on. This isn't football. Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer. I've seen that several hundred times.
Boozer and Darren Williams came to play.
And then you've got Darren Williams to Paul Millsap for the slam. And this was the point of the game when Utah was getting everything they wanted right at the rim.
We were watching in the green room. They would be more aggressive and taking everything to the rim.
Ty Lawson for 3. He takes a 4-point game to a 7-point lead for Denver. That was large. So was Lawson to Chris Anderson.
Lawson was huge. I mean, if you're talking about Chauncey Billups being in foul trouble, but the young fella came in, held serve. He was aggressive. He did a decent job on Darren Williams, even though he had great numbers.
Utah's not done. Paul Millsap puts it in. The feed from Darren Williams. We got a 3-point game. Dennis, speaking of threes,
Can we say Moneyball, folks? Because Mama calls him Earl, so I'm going to call him Earl now.
Darren Williams here loses the ball, and it leads to J.R. Smith getting busy.
Oh, yes.
That's J.R.
I am the slam dunk champ. In game.
Very nice.
That would get a 50.
What?
I'm telling you, that's an in-game 50 right there from J.R. Smith.
No, I'm going to give that a 48 because I think right before the playoffs he had that 360 alley-oop in the game. That's a 50.
And that was against my Wolves, if I'm not mistaken.
It sure was.
All right, let's get to the highlight right now. Let's show you how the Jazz closed out the Denver Nuggets in Game 6. And that is Carmelo Anthony. He would need a big one. And this guy right here, coming into this game, 5 straight 20-plus point, 10-plus assist games. Best such streak in NBA history. And this is C.J. Miles pounding the nail. Utah by 3. Adrian Dantley sweating Wesley Matthews. He was huge. The layup right here. Utah up 8. And then it's D. Will to Paul Millsap. Utah up 10.
Yeah, I mean, these guys right here are so good at home. As you see Millsap with a nice dunk from great feed from D. Will. Just that excitement. I mean, they're feeling good. They're confident. But Joey Graham giving the Nuggets a lift.
It wasn't Melo. It wasn't Billups. It wasn't J.R. Smith. It was Joey Graham that got Denver back in this game.
He was balling.
And right here you see Darren Williams, 3-point play, get him to the line. And a 12-point lead for Utah. Joey Graham now. Denver within 8. Hold the phone. Joey Graham's going to hit another one, this time a 3 on the kick out by Ty Lawson. 19 points in the first half for Joey Graham to the rescue. Denver down only 3. But we got one more Utah highlight here in the first half. It is Wes Matthews slamming it down. Utah had a 2-point lead at halftime. In the third, Dennis, Chauncey Billups doing what he does best.
Knocking down big shots, trying to keep his team alive. Moneyball.
That was a nice quick release right there, too. Didn't let Darren Williams set up. And then it's Darren Williams fouling Chauncey Billups. Foul number 4 on Darren Williams. He would have to sit the final 6:02 of the third quarter. And that allowed Chauncey Billups to do a little bit more of this kind of stuff right here.
Moneyball.
Yeah, but with the amount of time that was on there, this one you would have expected Denver Nuggets to really, really pull away, and they never did.
Carlos Boozer, the reverse, ties the game at 85, and then Chauncey passes to Carmelo Anthony, and the Mellow Man is going to pull up for the J. He was just 6 of 22 in the game for only 20 points, but he ties the game at 95. Then it's D. Will to Millsap, and he finishes again.
Once again, he and Boozer was dominated in the paint, making plays, rebounding, really controlling the game.
And you see the technical right there on Kenyon Martin pushing Darren Williams, and there were 4 techs again in this game on the Denver Nuggets. One of them right there, that was big. Kenyon Martin, and then Carlos Boozer to Ronnie Price. That was a big hoop, Dennis.
Sharing the basketball, help the helper.
And then Darren Williams, right here in the closing seconds, bangs into Chris Anderson. You see it right here, setting a screen, and he was holding that left wing as he went into the locker room. You see him right there. And late in the regular season, Darren Williams said, I need an entire new left side. So that may be an aggravated injury right there for Darren Williams. Nevertheless, the Utah Jazz win Game 6. They close out the Nuggets. The final from Energy Solutions Arena, 112-104.